Representative Randy Terrill, coming up right here in the dark suit. Randy has been part of the Oklahoma political scene since he interned for Governor Henry Bellman a long time ago. Wow. It's been a while. He was born in Alva, Oklahoma and graduated with a degree in political science at UCO. Go Broncos. He became the GOP legislative assistant to the House Republicans and also worked in the Keating administration with the Special Project Unit and the Oklahoma House Republican PAC. He worked for a while at the Department of Labor and then decided to go to law school. He won his election in House District 53 in 2004, despite a crowded Republican primary. He won without a runoff. He and his wife Angela have 2 children, and Randy is currently the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. Very powerful committee.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate Americans for Prosperity hosting this event, and thank you, Stuart, for inviting me to participate. He asked me if I'd prepare some comments. We didn't know if the senator was going to be here, and so I'm going to have to shorten them down just a little bit. My name is Randy Terrill. I am a state representative from House District 53, which is the Moore area. About 2/3 of my district is south and east Moore, about 1/4 of it's northwest Norman. Then I have a 110 square mile area very far southeast Oklahoma City. I am a self-professed social and economic conservative. I believe in 5 principles that I adhere to across the board when I consider all legislation that comes before my committee or in the House. I believe in constitutionally limited government. I believe in upholding the rule of law. I believe in competitive free market economics, which is a different animal than being pro-business, as Representative Reynolds and Senator Brogdon talked about just a minute ago. Number 4, I believe in personal rights as well as personal responsibilities. And number 5, I believe in upholding traditional Judeo-Christian family values. And I do so unapologetically, and that is the filtering criteria by which I look at everything that I do. I'm also the new chairman of the House Revenue and Taxation Committee in the House of Representatives. I also serve on the Elections Redistricting Committee as well as the Public Health Committee. I serve under Speaker Lance Cargill, who is our 3rd Republican Speaker, and not to give you all a lot of political history, but our first Republican Speaker was George Swaby about 80 years ago, and our second one was Todd Hyatt, which was just during our last time. As I mentioned, Speaker Cargill is our 3rd Republican Speaker. We kept the majority in the Oklahoma House of Representatives despite the tidal wave that you saw at the federal level where Republicans lost control of both the House as well as the Senate. And I'm happy to say not only did we keep the majority, we kept all 57 seats. I want you to know, just a brief comment about our Speaker. I've been very, very impressed with Speaker Cargill. He is an urban conservative. He has the ability to recruit candidates and raise money, which has allowed us to keep the majority up there. He is a very smart, articulate guy. He has a law degree from Vanderbilt University, and which has given us, I think, a very unique ability, if you've been paying attention this legislative cycle, to advance our message as well as our cause. There are 2 challenges that we face more than anything else in the legislature. Then I'm going to talk about some specific things that we've done. The first one is there's a 24-24 split in our state Senate. It takes 25, you will note, to advance any piece of legislation. I think you've heard a lot about, in the instance of a tie, the Lieutenant Governor coming to break a vote. Well, any smart major or co-pro tem on the Senate side would simply have one of his members hit the door to be a 24-23 vote. There is no tie to break, and that's the reason why you haven't seen the Lieutenant Governor in the state breaking any ties. Those guys have a challenge of working together over there to actually move our state forward. So far, it's been working reasonably well. Whether or not there's going to be a train wreck later this session, I'll be selling seats to the gallery if that happens, has yet to be seen. But right now, they're singing Kumbaya, they're holding hands, and everything's going well. But we'll see if that holds for the rest of the session. Secondly, is we do have a relatively flat budget. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because the truth of the matter is we still have $250 million worth of growth revenue, which is plenty to deal with in state government. But nevertheless, you'll hear the tax consumers constantly whining and crying that they don't have enough money for whatever it is that they're after, and that we can't afford those tax cuts that we got through the House of Representatives last Thursday. Real quickly, because I want to talk about what we've done. We made some important procedural changes at the House since we took over 2 years ago. We banned the practice of taking contributions at the Capitol. You'll see a comprehensive ethics reform package coming through again this year. We moved most of the substantive work not from the floor of the House of Representatives, no more amendments by ambush. We moved most of the substantive work back to the committee process where it belongs. We also made all committee votes recorded so that no longer can your legislators say that they're doing one thing when they're back home in their district when in fact they're doing something else and perhaps the opposite in committee. In terms of substance, we passed the 2 largest tax cuts in state history in the last 2 years. We passed a comprehensive workers' comp reform bill in special session, which NCCI says will save Oklahoma businesses $110 million. We passed the largest investment in our roads, bridges, and highways in the last 30 years, and I want to emphasize all with no tax or fee increase. We took care of our education system, specifically including our teachers, as well as Common Ed and Higher Ed. All we did was demand a little bit of accountability, and we adhered to the principle that parents have an inherent right to educate their kids in the way that they best see fit to do that, and government ought not to be in the business of discriminating against parents who choose to educate their kids at home. The 5th one is we passed free market health care reforms, including health care savings accounts, the RX for Oklahoma program, which coordinated with the major drug companies, as well as a comprehensive Medicaid reform package here in Oklahoma that has served as a model for cost containment in the nation. And finally, we protected families, omnibus sex offender legislation giving the possibility of a death penalty for repeat sex offenders, as well as advancing the most significant pro-life legislation in the last 30 years. In the area of taxes, and I'm going to conclude with this because this is an area that I have jurisdiction over, we've shaved 1 full percentage point off our state income tax in the last 2 years. That means we've reduced the top marginal rate from 6.65% down to 5.65%. That means we've given back to the taxpayers over the course of the next 10 years about $6 billion. I'll repeat that, about $6 billion. That's scheduled to go down even further under House Bill 1388. You should have a copy of that handout on your page, which I got through the House last Thursday, and Speaker Cargill has happily signed on to and endorsed as part of our package. The rate will drop to 5.50 in FY08 and 5.25 in FY09 with a growth trigger that'll save taxpayers another $68 million a year. Secondly, as we increased and indexed the standard deduction to match the federal level, which will help working families even more. Third, we finally abolished the estate tax. Yeah. The estate tax, the death tax. It's immoral, it's a tax on death, it's duplicative, you pay taxes on that stuff if you've accumulated over the course of your lifetime anyway, and it's a deterrent to economic growth, and in 4 years in the state of Oklahoma it will be gone. Fourth, we're in the process of eliminating the franchise tax. In 2005, House Bill 1738 that I passed eliminated the liability as well as the obligation to file a return for those folks who owed $10 or less on their franchise tax. That may not sound like a lot, but it benefited 42,000 small businesses. House Bill 1386 that we just passed on Thursday increased that amount to $250. It's been endorsed as part of the budget package that you'll hear announced next week. That'll benefit 60,000 more business owners in Oklahoma. I'm going to conclude with this. We've also been working to increase the amount of retirement income that's exempt from the income tax, and slowly but surely, as we sit there as the Revenue and Tax Chairman with this new Speaker, we're going to continue to chip down that top income tax rate, not just on retirement income, but on all income, and we're going to work toward abolishing it. Sixth is we're working on more stringent limitations on property tax increases. I want to make just a couple of observations with regard to what those other gentlemen have said. We have effectively, as Chairman of Revenue and Tax and with this new administration, we've almost eliminated, can't say entirely, but we've almost eliminated all transferable tax credits. I can assure you of this, as the Chairman of Revenue and Tax at the Oklahoma Taxpayer Transparency Act that Senator Brogdon is the author of, will get a vote in the House Committee and will be moved to the floor. I can also tell you that we're going to institute a comprehensive review of all the deductions, exemptions, and credits and sales tax exemptions this summer. And then there's a final thing that you want to know, and that is House Bill 1804, which is the comprehensive immigration reform bill that I've been authoring. I don't think it's rocket science. Illegal immigrants won't come here if there are no jobs waiting for them. They will not stay here if there are no taxpayer subsidies. And they certainly won't come here if they know if they ever encounter our state and local law enforcement that they'll be physically detained until they're deported, and that's exactly what House Bill 1804 does. It's not rocket science, my friends. It's just a very simple solution that a lot of people don't want to face.